You're looking for the best but cheapest computer for content creation, right? Here's the thing. I've edited hundreds, if not thousands of videos over the last couple of years on this 2021 MacBook Pro M1. The reality is that MacBook Pro is still over $2,000 so many years later. It's just too expensive. Together today, we're testing the content creation capability of what's in front of me right now, the 2020 M1 MacBook Air. This thing is a beast. I've seen recent videos reviewing this MacBook Air, but I haven't seen anyone testing how it performs in CapCut. And CapCut being one of the fastest growing editing platforms for content creators, I think that is crucial. It is the most important thing that we tested in CapCut today. But starting with the second most important thing, in my opinion, it's price. Comparing to the 2021 M1 Pro MacBook Pro 16-inch, this MacBook Pro is still going to set you back 36,000 Rand if you want to buy it brand new. That's roughly around $2,000. This MacBook Air, brand new, is going to set you back 17,000 Rand, which is just under $1,000. But it gets cooler. If you go to the iStore pre-owned website, you can pretty much pick up a perfect condition MacBook Air for 13,999 Rand. At the time of recording this, that is $740. $740 for a laptop, that is pretty incredible no matter what laptop you get. I just think this MacBook makes it even all the sweeter. But let's test the webcam first. Let's say you don't have a phone and you want to use your webcam on your Mac. So we switched over to the MacBook Air camera, and let me be honest with you, this looks like trash. I don't think there is an instance where you're going to use this camera as your main camera to record videos. Honestly, you wouldn't. However, right now we are also pulling from the MacBook Air microphone, so I am only going to be able to hear this once we start post-production. Here we're going to cut to the Rode Wireless Pro 2. And there we're gonna cut to the MacBook Air. I want you guys to let me know which one sounds better. I assume it's gonna be the Rode, but I'm curious to know what the MacBook Air microphone sounds like. Let's quickly touch on the hardware specs on this computer. For CPU, you're running the M1 8-core CPU with the 7-core GPU. In addition, we have 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of SSD. Now, for the display, we have a Retina display, the 13.3-inch, and if I look at this display, it looks beautiful. When comparing between the MacBook Air and the 16-inch MacBook Pro, there is a subtle difference in the resolution and perceivable resolution of the image on screen. However, it's a lot of resolution packed into a small screen size, and I think it does a great job at representing a great image. For ports, this is one of the things that I would say is a downside. You're sitting with 2 USB Type-C ports on your left and 1 headphone jack on your right. So for ports, we are relatively limited. Comparing to my MacBook Pro, that comes with 3 USB-C ports, a headphone jack, and the MagSafe port, an HDMI port, SSD card port. You're well equipped for cases where you're recording things on a camera and you need to plug that SSD in. So if you have any device that is a normal USB, you're looking to plug an HDMI in, you need to transfer footage off an SD card, you're gonna need a converter as well. If we plug in the converter to one of the USB-C ports and we have it charging, you're already limited for space. So make sure you get a adapter, a hub that has more than one USB-C so you can compensate for the one you're using when plugging this in. One thing that is super important to me is the transfer speed of footage. I don't want to spend 2 hours looking at my screen while my footage transfers. So we're going to do a quick disk test to see how quick the read and write speed on this Mac is. Okay, there we go. This is Mac itself, 2,400 megabytes and 2,800 megabytes speed. You're gonna have no problems. If we do a quick look down to see will it work question mark, we're seeing that this thing could supposedly read and write 12K DCI 60 frames a second. That is insane. Like, that definitely adds to the performance. I'm so curious to see how this thing handles when we actually get into CapCut. I do not know of another laptop that has this type of speed internally. So if you're transferring and editing off your internal drive of your computer, you're gonna have no problems transferring footage unless your SD card or your memory card is slow. You're gonna have no problems working with the speed of the actual disk of this thing. It's insane. Another thing with transferring footage is you have the AirDrop capability, right? So if you're shooting video on an iPhone, you don't have to connect that iPhone. You can wirelessly AirDrop your footage to this. I've literally transferred hundreds of videos after every campaign that we do, short form campaign where I shoot on my phone. A tool I use in every single one of my videos is onboard screen recording. It is important when you're creating content. You want to showcase what you're doing on your screen. Apple is incredible when it comes to screen recording because they have an inbuilt screen recorder called QuickTime Player. You just go to QuickTime Player, you start a new screen recording, and it's as simple as that. So if I go to CapCut and open it up, you can see we can create a new project and my entire screen is being recorded. And this is the way I screen record all my videos, using QuickTime Player, which is another perk to have in content creation. Now for the most important part of the video, how does it perform in CapCut? When we're editing, when we're applying footage, how does it perform? I'm gonna be using a wide array of different types of footage. Footage from an iPhone, stock footage that I downloaded at 4K, and then 10-bit 422 Sony footage in S-Log3, which is the highest bitrate out of all of them. If you're an avid editor, this may be important to you too, but for 10 seconds, let's talk about something that I think is important, the keyboard. This MacBook Air comes equipped with the exact same keyboard as the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is incredible. It gives you more than enough space for your hands and your fingers, hit your functions, tap your keys, and do all the things you need to do while you're editing. In addition, the trackpad is slightly smaller than the MacBook Pro. However, I really think it's perfectly sized. I cannot imagine using more space than this has. And while editing, I never found myself running into a case where my fingers were bumping off the trackpad. Make sure my screen is recording. I'm gonna go ahead and import this footage. If we just go ahead and drag that all onto the timeline, I'm gonna give it a second to render there. And we can see if I just scrub through here, there's absolutely no problems with playback. And I think if we go to preview quality, we are on quality priority, which is incredible. If you want your playback to be a bit smoother, you can prioritize playback smoothest by clicking performance priority. But still, this does a great job at handling 4K iPhone footage. Let's add some transitions between this footage. That plays that without buffering at all. If I go to effects, I'm gonna layer on a whack load of effects. I have 5 effects layered on each other, and if I click play, we can see it's smooth. We do get slight playback issues, but nothing that is going to affect the overall experience of you editing. That's just incredible that this is able to handle this footage without any issue. Next, we're bringing in some stock footage here. If I go ahead and play this footage, I'm just playing it back to see if there's any issues with the performance, and we're getting completely smooth playback. This is incredible. What if I apply a bit of a grade here? Let's just go crazy. Let's apply a LUT. The MATTLOUI LUT. Let's just go crazy with the type of grade and what we're doing on this image, and let's see how it handles it. Perfect. Not even a second of buffering that we needed in order to do this. Guys, I am genuinely pretty amazed. I know obviously when creators and reviewers make these types of videos, sometimes they can seem biased. I really think this is something that I could use from a day-to-day standpoint. Obviously, we're just testing CapCut. If I just add 2 filters, which sometimes adds a bit of system struggle, it honestly plays back incredibly smooth. There is no glitching whatsoever. Let's move on to the third and last test here. Let's bring in some 10-bit Sony footage. What on earth?
What we can do is
This thing, what? This thing literally, in an instant, has no playback issues whatsoever.
players.
That is incredible. What on earth? This thing is sick, guys. So I've just quickly applied our custom LUTs that you can go ahead and purchase if you want to support the channel. You'll find the link of how to purchase them in the description. Guys, I've applied the LUTs, we've done the color conversion, and this footage is playing back completely smooth. And this is literally one of the highest codecs that you can get on this Sony camera. What? And I'm feeling the temperature here, because the temperature was a worry. If we're doing effects and renders and things like that, how is the temperature? And this Mac doesn't feel hot at all. Let's add a default text layer and an animation to the text, because I know a bunch of you guys are going to be doing animations. We're going to do that. Let's add an animation to the, let's go fade in and scrolling out.
First, been cut off by
And if we see that out animation, no issues with that whatsoever. This is really, really cool to see. Why this is cool is because when trying to use CapCut on my PC, which has a 1063 gig graphics card, a decent processor, I mean, it's an old computer, but it's a pretty good computer. New, this thing was like 20,000 Rand. When trying to edit on this, there was so much lagging, it was pretty much impossible to edit. And when using this machine, it's just incredible. It's really incredible, guys. I don't mean that ingenuinely, like this is an awesome machine to edit on. The only downside to editing that I can notice, and this is when I really try and find a downside of this computer, is this player is slightly small. And when I try and increase its, I can decrease its size, but when I try and increase its size on both ends, obviously we can go down, but that doesn't really increase the size of the player itself. The player is just a little bit small for my liking. I would like something a little bit bigger that I can preview my footage on and see colors, etc., etc. But that's really if I try and find something that I don't like with this Mac. Otherwise, this thing is just honestly blowing my mind a bit. So I guess the $1 million question, or rather the $1,000 question, should you buy this MacBook Air 2020? I guess the best way I can answer this is, would I buy it, right? Would I genuinely buy it? And look, the truth is I have the MacBook Pro 16-inch M1, which I'm very happy with. I like the size of it. I like the fact that I get, like I was saying, a bit more screen real estate when seeing the preview, etc. So I'm happy with this. I wouldn't sell this for this smaller machine. But if I didn't have this MacBook Pro, absolutely. The editing was seamless, incredible. The scrubbing you guys saw, it was perfect. I surprisingly love the size. I thought the size would be an issue for me. It's actually beautiful. It's neat. It's convenient. Like when you're traveling, I mean, if I weigh this thing, that's pretty heavy. And if I pick this up, it's pretty light. Like I would say, someone let me know, but they feel almost like this feels half the weight as that. You're going to struggle to find a $750 laptop that performs the same way this does and has the capabilities of creation like it does. Again, if we take it beyond creating and you're looking at things like browsing the internet or taking down notes, opening Word documents, honestly, you're going to be perfectly fine. This thing is going to blow you away with its performance like it did for me. From a performance standpoint, I don't see a difference yet between the two in terms of editing. I think if we were to push this thing a little bit more on CapCut, you would start to see the difference. The MacBook Pro may hold a bit better, but this Air just did incredible. Should you buy it? I think so. If you have the ability, I don't think you're going to find something else that performs the same way this does. Lastly, I also talked to my friend who kindly lent us this MacBook Air, Jade from Fueled Life. Go ahead and check his channel out. He's obviously edited a lot more videos on this Mac than I have. And I asked him what has been his general experience with editing, with the performance of it. Has he had any issues? And he said he hasn't had a single instance where it struggled to play the footage that he's been throwing at it, which if my tests weren't enough, there's another test. I know he also shoots on a Sony and he has no problems playing back the footage and applying effects and doing the color grade, etc., etc. So there we go, guys. There's the test of the MacBook Air. I hope it was comprehensive enough. I try to approach it with a more creative, more creator mindset and answer some of the questions that I would have if I was in your position. So I hope you found it useful. Please go ahead and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.